Good morning, South Rock. Welcome to another Mark Devo. Today is Mark 11, 12 through 26. We combined three stories here because they all go together very importantly. So first, Jesus curses a fig tree. So they're walking by a tree and he wants a fig. And since it's not the season for figs, there are no figs. So Jesus curses a tree and said, "Let no one get fruit from you ever again." And then they walk away. And that's all we hear about it for the first part of the story. He goes to the temple right after this in Jerusalem, and he sees in Jerusalem in the temple, which is the most significant place for a Jewish person of this time. This is Judaism capital. This is, people on both sides would be mad if I said this, but it's basically Jewish Mecca, which is a hot thing to say. But it's very, very important. The most significant place in Judaism. And he sees that people are selling in this very sacred place. And so he turns their tables and he says, "You have made this a den of robbers and not a place of worship." And they go back. Well, the next morning they're walking back into Jerusalem, and Peter realizes that the tree that Jesus cursed has withered to the root. And he teaches them and says, you have to have faith. If you have the faith of a mustard seed and say to this mountain, "Jump," it'll jump. So have faith. And so the reason we put these all together, and I'm going to have to hustle through this because this is a complicated teaching. Basically, we see this vignette of Jesus cursing something that is not producing fruit. And then we go right into something else that's not producing fruit, the temple. And he curses it there too. And he changes the way that they're doing their operation that day. And he flips it on its head. And he says, basically, you're not going to have any fruit out of here anymore because we're changing the way we do this. The temple will be withered because of what I'm about to do. And so we see what happens when we have faith in him and when we trust him instead of making his house a den of robbers and following the law and following the Torah instead of following what Jesus had to say and so on. So it's this really interesting way that Mark put this story, and the way it happened in real life and what Jesus used to demonstrate. This temple was supposed to be a tree bearing fruit, and now it's this withered nothing, and I am here to replace it. So the question is, are you producing fruit? Which is a hard question. And so I guess let me rephrase it like this. Two questions. What is fruit that one produces in a Christian walk, in a Christian life? What is fruit? When we say that someone is producing fruit or their faith is fruitful, what do we mean? And then the follow-up question is, are you? Which is a tough question. And if you're really honest with yourself, I think it's going to be a day of how can I produce fruit and thinking through that. And maybe some of you are, and that's great, but really think about that today. What is fruit that when somebody says your faith is fruitful, what does that mean? And then are you producing that fruit? Otherwise we are like the temple or a withered fig tree. So heavy stuff for a Wednesday, but I hope you have a good rest of the day.